Hello everyone, I'm RJ, and this is a Last of Us video wondering, is Last of Us still good in 2019? Well, so I started a new profile. I used to be super pro at this game. It was one of my favorite games of all times. Still is probably my favorite game of all time. And I dominated back in the day on online multiplayer. Well, now with all the excitement coming out about The Last of Us 2, I really wanted to get back into this, so I wanted to see how did it stand up? Is it still worth playing? Should I just wait for Last of Us 2? Or is this good practice? That's really what I look at it. The Last of Us is still good practice because I assume by looking at the gameplay footage for The Last of Us 2 that there's going to be a lot of similarities. Now, there are some things to consider if you're going to get back into this game or if you're just going to start out playing now. You can still do it. You can still just start. Even if you're a total noob, just stick with me. I'll do more tutorials on how to get good, how not to be trash, how to check your own trash. That's what we do over here at Trash Check. First thing I noticed when getting back into it is that the actual gameplay mechanics are not as smooth as I don't know if I remember or if I just thought they would be, but you have to keep in mind this game came out in 2013 and then they re-released it on the PlayStation 4. That's what I'm playing here, the remastered version, and it is definitely still fun. The gameplay's a little different. Like the controller, it's just not as smooth as like right now. I'm also playing Apex Legends, or if you're playing anything that just came out in the past year, controls are so responsive. This is still responsive enough, still good, but definitely noticeably something you're gonna have to get used to. That's the best way to put it. With that being said, there's still tons of people playing this game. That's a great thing. I don't really have to wait very long to find a match. I go to the online multiplayer, Supply Raid, that's the best Supply Raid in my opinion, but I think in many's opinions. Play Supply Raid and you will barely ever have to wait for a game. Now, with that being said, that does not mean that every game you play is going to be awesome, because most likely you get paired up with people who are really good at this game. I'm talking pros who probably never stopped playing, okay? Don't get frustrated. You have to play this very patiently, especially if you're getting back into it like myself and you just remember being so good that, I used to be able to just go by myself. I didn't have to really worry about my team and what's going on. I would just go in and I could dominate. That is no longer the case. I'm definitely rusty, okay? So just be patient, take your time, try to relearn the gameplay mechanics, and just try to have fun with it, okay? Because it's still fun. This is one of the only games that I feel is really a skill-based game. With all these games that are out now that make it so that you could just pay to win, if you buy the new hard gear or the highest level weapon or whatever. Don't get me wrong, there's some of that in here because there are guns that are called that you could purchase, that I wouldn't say technically give you a competitive advantage because you still have to aim well, but there are some guns that are a little, I don't know. I don't want to use the word OP because I don't like to be like that, but like the burst rifle and things like that, they do, they suck to go against. If somebody hits you with that, it kind of, knocks your aimer out. You get kind of what's called, people call them freeze bullets because when they hit you, they kind of stun you in this way that you really can't fight them. But if you're good, like me, you can see I love using the bow. You can use whatever you want. But if you're good enough, you can go around, you can work as a team, and you can still dominate. So that's what I'm saying. It's still a skill-based game, and that I really love. Don't forget, use listen mode. Man, I forgot about listen mode. It is so useful to find where enemies are, where they're coming from, and I can't use it enough, especially getting back into it. So I definitely put on that perk that gives me a longer listen mode and lets it regenerate a little faster, just because I'm still trying to get used to it. Yeah, back when I was good, I could run around without covert. I didn't care if the enemy knew where I was, but that's back in the day. Now, I'm sneaking around, I got covert on, I'm trying to hide, I'm just taking it very slow. So, another thing that's very difficult is upgrading your weapon. For some reason, I remember it being something that I did so fast, but again, I guess it's because you get killed and you get points. So, the bow at level 1 or any gun at level 1 is very, very difficult. Again, don't be frustrated, just move through it. Now, 2019, I'm still playing Last of Us, I'm getting back into it, and wow, it is still one of the most brutal online multiplayers you can play, man. These kill animations are no joke. You watch these and you're like, Jesus, that looks painful. You still feel the bullets, man. When they hit you, you still feel like that shock, like, oh my god, I'm getting shot at, you know, where in other games, bullets don't do anything to you, right? They hit you, you lose a little health, but you can still maneuver. But this, when you're getting shot, it affects you. You really can't aim, you're kind of stunned, it's definitely brutal, but you feel it, you know? So like right here, watch. This guy starts shooting me, and man, I feel it. It knocks me off, see my armor jumped up, ooh, I barely get out there with my life. And then I just had to heal up, man. Med kits, med kits, med kits. Those are your best friends. But yeah, so I still say, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that The Last of Us in 2019, still a great game. I still highly encourage you to play it. Definitely squad up if you can, because let's face it, when you're playing with some randos, there's no communication. Everybody's playing for themselves. I mean, you'll maybe see in this footage, if not, you'll see it in future footage, where I got downed, and I crawl over to my teammate, and he's not picking me up. He has ample opportunity to pick me up. He's not picking me up. Don't be that guy. Don't take revenge. Don't think like, oh, well, I'm not going to pick them up then. You know, be friendly. Be a team, right? So you want to set the example. I still try to pick people up when I can. Don't let their choices affect yours. But I will say that if you're playing by yourself, you have to play a little different, okay? You got to be a little more stealthy. Definitely purchase armor as anytime you can, because survivability is key, and you can't really rely on your team. I will say there's been a few times when I was in a situation where we kind of rolled on the enemy, and I looked around, I looked at my map, I looked at my surroundings, I could see all my team is with me, and somehow I charged in and I was still alone. Now, that's not always going to be the case, but I've been playing, you know, for a few days now back into it, and I'm finding that it's often the case. So if you have a buddy, play with your buddy, man. It's so much better. You'll see that me and Fly Kid, we still play this. We're getting back into it. He's off right now doing some, he's in the Marines Reserve, so he's off doing some, you know, serving our country. Thank you, Fly Kid. And in the meantime, I've been playing by myself, and it's very different. Because when I play with Fly Kid, we're in the headset, we're communicating, and it's fun, and we're starting to feel like that symmetry, or synergy, that's the word I'm looking for. We're starting to feel that synergy we used to have before, flanking around, making plays. Dude, it's so, so fun. And with The Last of Us 2 coming out, I mean, rumor has it it's coming out this year in the fall, or maybe even the summer, hopefully. The sooner the better. But I really started thinking, man, I don't want to be trash when The Last of Us 2 comes out. When The Last of Us 2 comes out, I want to get right in there. I want to pick up where I left off, learn the new game mechanics, and not have to worry about the foundations. That's the best way to look at it, okay? If you want to play The Last of Us, if you're looking forward to The Last of Us 2, I highly recommend either pick up The Last of Us or, you know, re-download it off your PlayStation if you deleted it or whatever it is. Reboot it, get back into it, get the feel of it, because it is still a great game. And it is definitely a good training tool to get you ready for The Last of Us 2.
Go and get your light beer, come on sit down right here. I'ma get you buzzed like my fucking name was Lightyear. Yeah, and if I said it once, I'll say it twice. Every day in life for me is like I play a game of dice. Whoa, I'm on the roll, so now I'm vibing with them. I grab control of microphones and then I ride the rhythm. I try to give them every bit of my life without giving the stripe to my kid and my wife. But I couldn't stop it all from crossing over. So now I've gotten colder, rocking shoulders. Often rob is not as sober. And out of nowhere, I'm just coming through and blast past your jabroni whack ass with your corny hashtags. Take your phony ass back to where your phony ass at. Yo, I'm a Roby, you should throw me on your rap track. Buy my CD, you can keep me in your knapsack. Man, there's nothing keener than Latina asses that's fat. But I digress, and I would guess that I'm the best. But I confess that I am stressed without a night of rest. In my defense, we were born to feel like you ain't a quarter real. You ain't got no motor or some foreign wheels. But top go back, in fact, it looks just like an orange peel. Hard to find somebody, little shawty and some foreign shields. And still be your for them bills. Now you can forget it, I'm up and I'm headed for the hills. Man, I'm sick of practicing this shit. Now I need me a hookup. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm staring